Hello, this is Joe with Support Medical Systems, and today we are going to be reviewing oxygen concentrator operation and troubleshooting. If you do run into any problems and need further assistance, please note the number on the red and white stickers. That is our live 24-hour number. Please call that if you need further assistance. In terms of all of the instructions and troubleshooting for the concentrators, please do not skip any steps, as that may affect the performance of your machine. The very first step with any piece of medical equipment is to make sure that it is plugged in to a functioning outlet that is not on a light switch or on a power strip or surge protector, as this could affect the performance of the machine. Once that is plugged in, the concentrator itself has very few buttons and is easy to operate. You have the power switch. When it does turn on, you will get that loud beep every time. Do not be alarmed by it. The white button is just a reset button in case of a surge. And the machine will start making noise, and you will see a green light come on. As for the liter flow, this will be dictated by the prescription and given to our driver by the ordering nurse. Our technicians are not allowed to deviate from that. But in terms of setting the liter flow, it is simply an analog dial with the numbers on the vial and the little steel ball going to whichever liter flow, 2 being the most common, so we'll set it there for right now. Now that you have the machine running, many times you will have humidification provided. As you can see, the humidifier bottle here already has water in it, and you can see the bubbles forming. You do not want to overfill the bottle. You can see on the side it does say maximum. It's a little higher than the halfway point. You do not want to fill it higher than that point. The humidifier bottle connects by the short tube. You want to make sure that the cap is screwed on tightly and that the tube is in there also securely. If you do not see bubbles forming, that means there is a leak somewhere in here. We recommend that you take the cap off and the tube off completely and then reassemble it to make sure it's on tight. At that point, you will have your cannula, the tubing, hooked up right to the end of the bottle. And when you follow that out to the end, for a standard cannula, you have the 2 little nose pieces. You should be able to feel or hear the air coming out of there. If you have another device like a mask, it will be the same thing coming out there. We recommend that you have no more than 50 feet of tubing between the machine and the patient. At that point, you will lose too much pressure and will get a true liter flow. If at any point the machine stops working, there are several steps you can take. First of all, if you have a red light on the concentrator, you must call us immediately. There is unfortunately nothing you can do to troubleshoot it if the red light is on. That simply means the machine has to be replaced. We'll further explain what to do in that situation in just a second. But if you do have either a yellow light or a green light, there are steps you can take to make sure that the machine is working. I always like to start from the wall out, first and foremost being checking that it is plugged into a working wall outlet and not into a power strip. If it is plugged in and you hear the machine running, then that means that the machine is working and it is generating some sort of flow. There must be a leak or a clog somewhere in the system beyond this point, so we want to check everything, making sure that all of the tubing is connected tightly. If you see that the humidifier bottle has enough water in it and there is bubbles present, then you know that the cap is on tight and the tube is connected firmly. If you do not see bubbles, once again, take the cap off, screw it back on firmly. Once you see those bubbles flowing, that does mean that you have airflow up until this point. So if you do not feel oxygen coming out of the tubes, that means you have a kink or a clog in the tube. You want to make sure that there's no bend or nothing is on top of the tube. Sometimes a chair or something can be obstructing that. You also want to make sure that there's no water in the tube if you have accidentally overfilled the humidifier bottle. If that is the case, we recommend you simply change out the tubing. If you get into a situation where you cannot restore the oxygen flow or there is a red light on, you have been provided with a backup oxygen tank. This will have a regulator on it that will help to facilitate the flow of oxygen. You want to make sure that's screwed on tightly. You'll have a small wrench. It'll either be black or green like this one. And you want to put it on top and you want to turn it all the way counterclockwise to make sure that the tank is open. Then you can simply take your tubing and your cannula from the oxygen concentrator and hook it right up to the regulator, and then simply turn the dial to the desired liter flow, and you will have oxygen flowing. On 2 liters, this tank is going to give you about 5 hours of oxygen. That'll give us plenty of time to get there and swap out your machine for you. Anytime you do have to go on to this unit, please make sure you let your nurse know and let us know, so that way we can service your concentrator appropriately. One other thing to keep in mind, when you do have your concentrator in the home, they do make noise. Some are louder than others. If you do need it set up in another room, please let the technician know so he can make sure that the appropriate amount of tubing is being used. But please do not put the concentrator in a closet or any enclosed space, as it does need a foot of space around it to make sure it can ventilate properly and does not overheat. If you have any questions or concerns, once again, please dial our live 24-hour number. Thank you.